Hello and welcome to Startup's Teardowns Marketing Edition. In this episode, we go deep into a financial application that has learnt really effectively how to localize their App Store listing and their landing page to really appeal to their audience. So if you're running a mobile application, this one's for you. So first up, this is the landing page for Plum here in Portugal. Tom, any immediate reactions here?
Yeah, well, first off, I have to caveat it that I not just know this company, but I'm actually one of their max users. So I know Plum pretty well. I mostly engage using the app though. So I've had the app for probably 5 years. I don't think I've visited the website in those years, right? So in some ways, this is a good test to see whether the website stacks up to my interpretation of what it does. But also I try and look at it through the lens of somebody who hasn't had that experience too. Because yeah, from that latter perspective, money for life is quite a punchy, short, simple statement. It's asking questions in my head, which I, may be a bit confused. I'm like, okay, well, what am I getting here?
It could be a bank at this stage, whereas me and you both know that it's not a bank.
Yeah, I mean, the sort of sub-context says, from renovation to dream destinations, Plum makes it easy to save and invest in the good things. So I kind of see the value there, but it's not massively clear. Then having the QR code obviously implies it's an app. Again, I'm always a little bit skeptical of like QR codes on a web landing page. I think, I'd rather probably have a download sign or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting call to action that they can track as well. So that'd be good from a marketing perspective.
To be fair, what they might have done here, Tom, and maybe if you can just go on your phone and just double check this if you go onto the Plum website, but they might recognize that I'm actually on a desktop browser and therefore not on my phone. And actually a QR code is a really nice call to action because you don't want to click download and then go to a mobile app.
Yeah, I mean, I just scanned the QR code and it takes me straight to the app, which I imagine would be then straight to the App Store.
So arguably, I actually really like that they've got this QR code. People are going to have them mobile. They're going to whack it out and they can scan straight away. And then on the mobile website, they've just got a button that takes them straight to the App Store. So I think that's actually quite nicely done. Hero image here, there's a well-known sort of survey that shows that actually smiling images above the fold increase conversion on landing pages by quite a lot. So they've clearly sort of learned something there. Again, it doesn't really necessarily show me that it's about sort of investing on money, except from the kind of small thing here around a sort of note around a saving amount. But yeah, the image doesn't tell me that much, so maybe that could be improved. And then they go straight into social proof and trust building, which is quite nice. Nearly 3 million people already using it and a few logos there.
Yeah, I mean, my interpretation of that is a bit weak. It's, it doesn't really give me much confidence in what those things mean. I'm not really going to go and research them, but it's not clear just looking at it that what that actually means.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really small, so I think could do better.
Yeah. And then it kind of goes into some of the jobs to be done, I suppose, around why you would get this app, to save for life surprises, to make grand plans and to guarantee for your future. I don't quite know what this means, so there's perhaps some improvement there to be done. Maybe that's translation error. I quite like the kind of reason for like why you want to invest being clearly laid out here. It's a shame that they haven't on this page got any sort of social proof that's a bit more tangible, testimonial based, a bit more about like what their actual customers see as the benefit. That could definitely be an improvement here. And then they've got a little engineering as marketing tool, which I quite like here.
See, if you go back to the pricing, I'd like to actually just reflect on the value proposition within the pricing here. I think, as we said, the real value is how much more you can save. I would argue they should bring that through to the pricing. It's almost like pro users save 3 times more and premium users save 8 times more.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. That's a great bit of feedback there. And I suppose then I just want to kind of continue the journey a little bit and go into the App Store listing here.
And this is very much baked around their value proposition. So actually, in some ways, these statements would be good to see on the landing page in some way, shape or form. And I think having consistency between the landing page and the App Store would make me more likely to convert and download this app, because these are the sort of statements I'm sort of now seeing for the first time having just gone through that experience?
I agree with you on the brand and the brand colors and the look and feel of it. They've obviously spent a lot of time on investing in the brand and sort of building this standout brand. I think, again, if we're looking at the audience that they're targeting, they probably are people between sort of 20, 25 and 30, 35 in this bracket. And so I feel like the brand it is appealing to people in this age bracket. It's serious, but it's not too serious. But the thing that I really like about this is that the localization is it's strong. So this is actually for the UK now, and we've got like cash ISAs, which is very specific to the UK. We've got these awards that are very specific to the UK. People there would recognize it and understand. But I feel like as a sort of localization play, they've done a really strong job.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the UK landing page because I think it's a good point for a company like this. The savings structures and tax incentives are very different for each country. So
Yeah, I did actually check the Plum landing page in Portugal, and it is localized to Portugal. So again, good job from the growth team there. And then the App Store description, I think the one thing that sort of really stuck out for me was actually, I've already expanded this, but when it was not expanded, it just shows the top line. And all it says here is description only relevant for UK customers, which is, fine, but it's not really a very good hook to make me want to go and actually expand this and go and read the description and learn more about the application. I think if we compare this to just their key competitor, Moneybox, they go straight into what their core proposition is, which is give everyone the means to get more out of life. A very similar proposition to what we saw on the landing page for Plum.
I think that this is what I would look to do with an App Store optimization. As I just said, you want the hero image with some lifestyle pictures, which they've got a vision statement that Plum obviously had, but have missed the opportunity to pull this through into the App Store. Then go into the sort of social proof and Trustpilot ratings here, 2 feature examples to like what is it going to do, and then benefit.
Plum only has the app available on iPhone and Android. It doesn't have an option to go onto your browser and see your investments and to make investments. It doesn't have an iPad app like Moneybox does. It doesn't have a Mac app. It's really just focused on that mobile experience.
Well, I can see the limitations there, but actually I think I would disagree that I should now default to my app to do most of my investments and manage money. So I actually think that in some ways it's beneficial that they lean into that, and probably the best in class mobile app for that feature, and therefore people like myself sign up for it on that basis. So I think it goes both ways, but I obviously see your point.
And maybe, again, we're going back to Plum is looking at these sort of 25 to 30-year-olds that, appreciate kind of the sort of brighter colors, the more appealing brand, the easier to use UX, UI. And this audience is very mobile first in their interaction. Whereas maybe Moneybox has a slightly older ICP where they actually are more comfortable using the desktop apps, and they actually require and desire a sort of more flat and sort of trustworthy, potentially sort of color scheme. And so for me, I think what Plum has done really well is they understand their audience. They've built a very strong brand. They're speaking directly to their customer and their customer pain points. They're doing a really strong job of localization. I think there's a few elements around the landing page bringing consistency with the App Store page, and really bringing to the fore the sort of personal stories of some of their users in a more effective way, and bringing those testimonials forward as well in terms of social proof. And then there's a few small elements to the landing page for the App Store listing where, don't start with the disclaimer as your hook. Try and really talk to the jobs to be done that the customer is trying to achieve. And potentially consider adding more platforms to their products to allow that sort of more diverse user experience as well. But overall, I think Plum's doing a really strong job on their brand, on their marketing, on their localization, and on appealing to their specific ICPs.